Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our keynote session. I am Rupert Hargreaves, the managing editor of City AM, and I'll be introducing the next three panels this afternoon. First up, we have affordable driverless cars for all, a fireside chat moderated by Gillian Davis from Bloomberg Intelligence and Dr. James Peng, co-founder and CEO of Pony.ai. So please welcome them to the stage.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. As it was said, my name is Gillian Davis, and I'm an equity analyst covering the autos and auto parts sector at Bloomberg Intelligence. And thank you for joining us today for our fireside chat with James Peng. James is the co-founder and CEO of Pony.ai, an autonomous driving technology company that specializes in developing level 4 autonomous vehicle systems for both passenger and commercial applications. The company was founded in 2016 and IPO'd in 2024 on the NASDAQ. James, thank you so much for being here today for this conversation. A lot has happened for you over the last year, not just including the IPO of Pony.ai. But can I just start off with a question with, what are your plans to use the capital raised from the IPO, and what are your top investment priorities post-listing?
Yeah, first and foremost, it's great to be the Move conference again. And Julian, it's a great pleasure to actually have this side chat with you. Yes, Pony.ai did IPO last November. And as a general, I think our main focus for the capital expenditure is really for the mass production and mass deployment of our autonomous driving vehicles. You can think of the last 10 years or so for the company was focusing on developing a safe and reliable autonomous driving systems. And we achieved this all. We actually launched fully driverless commercial operation for the last 2.5 years. I think totally we ran on the open road for 50 million kilometers with impeccable safety track record. Going forward, it's really how do we make our existing great technology to be beneficial to our larger customers. So it's all about scale up. And of course, we need capital for producing those vehicles, for deploying them to the cities, and for everyone to enjoy.
Okay, so on scaling up, I think you have a few hundred on the road at the moment, and by the end of this year, you're targeting 1,000 vehicles, and by 2028, 50,000 vehicles. Are policies ready enough to support these goals, do you think?
Short answer is yes. I think one of the reasons we kept the size of our fleet relatively low because those are our older generations. The cost on them is still relatively high. And this year is the time where we actually start launching our new generation of the autonomous driving vehicles. The cost has gone down so dramatically that it will be a contribution margin will be positive. That means the operating on a per vehicle basis, it will be actually positive. That's why we start large scale deployment. Because of the cost structure, because of the safety track record, I think we can convince the regulators on the regulatory front. In fact, we have talked to many cities and national governments. I think in general, the mood, well, the pulse at least is very supportive because of the huge benefits of the autonomous mobility. This is a longer version than just a simple yes. I think in general, I think it's very positive.
Okay, so I mean, you touched on regulation already. So let's dive into that a little bit more. So you have approval to have the autonomous vehicles in Luxembourg. Why did you choose Luxembourg, and why did you choose Luxembourg over other bigger European cities?
Yeah, maybe I backtrack a bit on that question. As I said, last 10 years, we were focusing on developing the technology. And 2.5 years ago, we made the technology work fully driverlessly. That's when we start thinking that how do we deploy this technology to more markets to really get enjoyed by the riders. Certainly, European market is the one that we are very much interested in. And we start talking to some of the players, some of the relevant regulators in different countries and different markets. Luxembourg strike us as a very progressive government. We will actually have direct access to the Ministry of Economic and the Ministry of Transport, and we get very good support from them. We have to start somewhere, so I think it's a baby step. We don't have to have really exhaustive search of all the cities before we decide, right? So we're going to be more markets anyway. So that's why we say we should be in there quickly, although it's a small market. But I think by being small, that means it can move things relatively fast.
Okay. And so then what about the UK? Are we going to see any Pony.ai vehicles in the UK next year? Because we've recently heard that they're now going to allow testing of driverless taxis in the UK in spring.
I think having a Luxembourg operation and it really fits us as a first step and also as a launch pad to more European cities. So the short answer to your question is potentially we'll go to more cities for sure, but particularly where we go there are several factors to consider, right? It's the local regulation, it's the partnership. We will not go into a market alone. We need local partners on the vehicle operation, on the manufacturing. And also see how the local residents' acceptance of autonomous mobility. So several factors to consider. So for sure we'll be somewhere, but particularly where, we don't know yet.
Okay. And speaking of partnerships, what's your view on the future of relationships with traditional OEMs and autonomous vehicle startups such as yourself? Are you partners? Are you competition? Is it both?
No, I think it's more partners than competition. Essentially for us, we're the brain, right? We need a strong body. So I think any serious mass production of autonomous driving needs a very close collaboration between the vehicle manufacturers and the autonomous driving technology providers like us. So all the relationship between us and the OEM, it's not just a simple supplier relationship. It has always been a deep collaboration with co-development. So I think that relationship will continue, even if we are bringing a new OEM partners. Okay.
And speaking of OEM partners, Toyota is one of your key partners that you have. And how does that relationship work? Do they pay a fee? Do they provide the vehicles to you for free? And when you move forward with other partnerships with OEMs, how do you see that relationship working as well?
As I already mentioned, that partner has to be a deep collaboration. It goes beyond just a licensing fee or goes with a supplier relationship. So our relationship with Toyota starts in almost 5 years ago already. So it started with a co-development, and the relationship actually grew over the years. We also formed a joint venture where we co-developing vehicles as well as co-managing a fleet of vehicles. So I think the relationship with OEMs will not be one size fits all. It can be co-developing vehicle, it can be co-owning a fleet, it could be the co-financing the fleet, and it goes beyond. So definitely, I don't think the market is fixed already. There could be a lot of more possibilities.
Okay. So when it comes to tech development, you're on your 7th generation of the platform right now. What does this development mean in terms of the tech for your vehicles?
As I have already alluded to a little bit, the 7th generation has many benefits, right? One is everything on the vehicle is automotive grade. That means all the components, all the sensors, computer chips are automotive grade. That means they are much cheaper, they're in large quantity. Second is the total cost of the system is a lot cheaper. Compared with our 6th generation, the price dropped 70%. That means it's only 1/3 of what it used to be. This enabled us actually to go mass production, as I mentioned. This means per vehicle, we will have positive contribution margin. That means we can finally go a larger scale. So I think 7th generation will be a critical generation for us.
Okay. And I mean, you spoke about affordability. Can anyone sign up to your Robo taxi service in China? And how do prices compare to a normal taxi service?
We actually launched the public-facing robo-taxi services, means taking passengers with paid customers in early 2019, but starts with still a safety driver. It was the 2.5 years ago. Now we went to fully driverless. And the experience is just like when you take a taxi or when you go your favorite ride-hailing apps, right? You can get a ride with your cell phone. And the rate we charge is actually comparable to the taxi fares in the local market. The idea is that since we are a small portion of the local shared mobility markets, will be a good supplement to the existing market. We don't want to be a disruption in the pricing. In the long run, when we launch to a bigger market, we might be slightly cheaper, so to provide more affordable mobility solutions. But for the time being, I think using the local ride-hailing and taxi fare as a reference for us is good for existing players, and it's good for us as well.
Okay. So just changing tact a little bit, Tesla pursues a consumer-facing autonomous model with the FSD, while Pony.ai seems to focus on robo-taxis and fleets. Why do you believe that your approach is better than Tesla's?
A slight clarification. I think Tesla is also with the ambition to launch robo-taxi in Austin.
They do.
I think anytime now, although we're still waiting for the official launch. It's still yet clear to me what's the robotaxi applications for Tesla and their consumer-facing FSD. Are they using exactly the same software or different ones? I think we'll find out soon. But just compare us with the existing consumer-facing FSD. I think the huge difference is that for the existing FSD, for consumer, it's still a driver-assisted system. That means the final safety guard is still the driver in the vehicle. It's still the driver responsible for the safety. While as for us, from day one, it always the vehicle or our system that responsible for the safety. Because that huge difference, that means we have to deal with all the extreme cases, all the bad weathers, and all the unforeseen possibilities, scenarios on the road. That means the training systems, the AI algorithm development, all have to take into consideration of all those cases. I think by dealing with all those we call long tail or whatever the extreme cases will enable us to scale a lot cities because a lot of those extreme cases has to be dealt with across many different cities.
And then with robo-taxis, and the statistic is that most cars are only used 5% or 1 hour a day. What do you think is the theme for car ownership going forward? Do you think it's all going to be about shared mobility?
I think shared mobility definitely, as you mentioned, has a lot of benefits, higher utilization, taking less space for parking, and free up, and eventually can be a lot affordable. But it's a gradual process. I think a lot of people still enjoy car ownership and car driving by themselves. But a lot of other people likes to have taxi, likes to do things in the car without driving, right? You can rest a bit after work instead of focusing on your driving. So I think it will be a gradual process, and in the overall mobility market, probably the robotaxi will gradually take in more and more the market share.
Okay. And then my last question to you is, in a year's time, what milestone will you be hoping to be celebrating?
Excuse me?
In a year's time, what milestone will you be hoping to be celebrating?
I think, as I mentioned, right, we get the technology right. Now it's all about scale. So in 12 years, it's all about mass production of our 7th generation and launch to more markets. So mass production, mass deployment, and adding more vehicles on the road. That will be our focus for the next year, probably even for the foreseeable future, for the next 3 to 5 years.
Okay, well, that's really interesting. Thank you very much for your time, and I really enjoyed our fireside chat. And thank you, everybody, for joining us for this conversation today.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.